Before we begin, I think it's really important that all of you Fresh Start players go check out the Hunt Showdown Discord. This is a great place to meet other players that can help you learn the game, that'll play with you regardless of your skill level, and just to meet other people in the community, get updates and all that stuff, and see if you actually enjoy the community as well as the game. I also apologize for the slightly rushed nature of this video. I didn't know about the free weekend until pretty much the day before, so I'm pretty much rushing to get this guide out to help people who are coming in with a fresh start understand what they're doing, and that way they don't misinterpret some things or not enjoy the game because they just don't know what's happening. The gist of Hunt Showdown is that you are a hunter in the American Hunter Association. There are demons in the Louisiana and southern bayous, and you are being sent in to clean them up. However, you're doing it for money, and you only get the money if you bring out the bounty, so you're hunting these monsters. You use your dark sight to find the clues. The clues lead you to the monsters, you kill the monsters, you banish them back to hell, and when you get back with the bounty, you get money. The exact hows and whys of lore would take way too long to get into for this video. The purpose that we need to pay attention to now is that we're after the bounty, and so is everybody else, and everybody's willing to kill everybody for it. This isn't a video on how to navigate the shop, what to buy, or how to get through the very basics of the game, so we're going to jump right into it here. When you get into a game, the first thing you want to do is take note of the spawns that are nearby you. Spawns are normally indicated by the edges of the map. Roads that going onto the edge of the map are generally spawns that other players can inhabit. There can only be 12 players upon a map, but you still want to check and be wary about your spawns. I know at Iron, another team can spawn there, so as soon as I get a chance, that's where I need to go check and make sure they're not, there to kill me. Right off the bat, somebody actually hits a sound trap right near the other spawn, which brings me to my second important point. Audio is absolutely king in this game. You need to make sure you're paying attention to what you hear, and you need to learn what sounds like what. So take some time when you get into your games to familiarize yourself with the sounds the monsters make while they're walking around, the sounds they make while they're idle, and all that such, because you need to be able to differentiate that from players moving around. Another important thing is that the game can be played in teams of 2 or teams of 3. So when I see this person here, I immediately know that they have a teammate, well, they very likely have a teammate somewhere around. They could be playing solo like I am, but it's much less likely. I continued lurking because I thought there would be a second one, and there was. He actually went AFK at spawn because he thought there was nobody here and that they were safe, and this clip here provides 2 very important points. 1, all weapons cannot penetrate all surfaces, and 2, even pistols can one-shot headshot, it's just out to a certain distance. The only weapons that'll one-shot kill you without it being a headshot are the crossbows, the shotguns, and the Nitro Express rifle. You can also die to a melee to the head as well, and some weapons can melee you to the chest and kill you, but generally those are bayonets or the cavalry sabers and such. The second point you need to make sure you know is that in fights, you want to heal early and often. While headshots will one-shot you, most rifles do anywhere from 110 to, in the case of the Sparks, 149 damage to the chest, meaning they can literally not one-shot you unless it's a headshot. This makes the strategy of following up with a quick swap with the Q button into a pistol shot a very common strategy. This is important because if you don't fall back behind cover, you can get it by the second shot. And even if they miss the second shot, if you don't heal, another rifle shot, even if it's to the chest, will absolutely kill you. So you want to make sure that when you take damage, you want to make sure you're topped off. It's very important to not go into a fight with low health unless you absolutely have to. You want to make sure as well that you keep in mind that anything that you can hear, other people can hear. Gunshots can be heard all the way across the map, literally the opposite side. So this whole fight I had here, while it didn't take too long, everybody on the map knows there are shots happening here, and people could be on their way if they wanted to kill players, which is a very common thing. A lot of players will chase shots purely for PvP. Whether you decide to stay where you made noise or clear out before people show up, you need to make sure that you're moving on to the objectives and that you keep your eyes and ears open. You can't hear everything. In this situation, I underestimated how quickly other people could get here, and because of that, they just crouch-walked up on me, and I never heard them coming. If he were a better shot, he could have completely killed me before I even knew he was there. Whenever you're doing anything, when you're scouting, just looking for information, whether you're actually picking up something, when you're looking at something on the ground, when you're trying to decide if you want to loot these weapons, you need to make sure you're still moving, because if somebody's around that you didn't happen to hear, or there was nothing to hear, and you stand still, you're a very easy shot and a very easy kill. His teammate makes a noise behind the fence and I know he's there. I can wallbang this fence because the rifle I'm using is long ammo. You can check on the menu which rifle fires which rounds, but a lot of Hunt players will just be able to explain it to you as you go. Long ammo has the best penetration, the best damage, and the best travel speed per shot. However, they come in pretty much the least amount of quantity except for special ammo. Medium and compact are incremental steps down on the damage and the penetration and the travel speed, but they are generally incremental steps up on the amount of ammo you can have. Another important but often overlooked by newer player aspect of shooting is that bullet travel time is a very real thing. Bullets have variable travel times in the different guns have different travel times even though they use the same type of round, and you need to make sure that you practice with both with guns that you want to use just by shooting at things at longer range, whether they be players, zombies, or anything. Some people may feel that this is overly difficult or unnecessary, especially when you add in how easy it is to lose targets behind foliage and other things in this kind of game. But one of the draws of Hunt is learning and then executing this difficult gunplay, and it ends up being some of the most rewarding shooting that you're going to find in gaming.
I'm a god!
The only suggestions I have in the way of loadouts is that you always need a melee weapon that should be in the tool slot, and you should always bring both vid shots and a medkit. The melee tool is so that you don't waste bullets on grunts and you can clear through them quickly without, giving away your position to the entire map. The med kit is out of combat or non-emergency healing when you're safe behind a tree, and the vid shot is faster than the med kit, and the upgraded vid shot heals your full health bar, so that's the emergency healing you use if somebody is pushing you or you're in a tight spot. You should try to be efficient with your callouts to make sure everybody's on the same page. When you hear or see something, you want to call out whatever you heard or saw, what direction it came from on the compass, and the approximate distance away from you it is. That way everybody's on the same page. Even with a lot going on, paying attention to what you hear is very important in the middle of a battle. Some other small things to keep in mind. It is generally okay to make noise, especially if making noise is better than taking damage. If you pull a bunch of mobs, it's better to shoot them than lose a whole lot of health for no reason. It is easiest to kill bosses using melee weapons. You want to hit them a few times with heavy melee attacks, and then once they enrage or enter a different phase, you want to back off until your energy is okay, and then go back in and do it again. Thanks to a recent anti-camping update, if there's anybody within 40 meters of the boss icon on the top left will flash red. This alert can be seen out to 80 meters, meaning you can see this alert without setting it off yourself. That means if you are within 80 meters of the boss and you get the alert, it'll be a white alert on the boss icon. The boss icon will flash white, and that means that there's nobody within 40 meters of the boss. That means anybody, including you, your enemies, or your teammates. Anybody can trigger this 40-meter alert. It can be seen out to 80 meters. However, once you are within 40 meters and trigger the alert, or within the alert range, you do not get updated if somebody else enters the 40-meter radius. This is to deter people from sitting in boss layers because people outside will know that they are inside, but they will not know people outside are approaching. And the biggest tip that I can give you is that Hunt giveth and Hunt taketh away. Even the best players die to silly things from players that are significantly worse than them all the time. So just because somebody beat you with something doesn't mean it's anything to get bent out of shape about or get tilted. It's much easier said than done, but here's a prime example of how Hunt turns on a dime and can be completely unpredictable, and that's part of why it's so fun. Hey, Dad.
Oh, that's both. That's both, you fucking monster.
I know.
Yeah, so they both died. Oh, Merrick.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Oh shit, there's another one! There's another